Well met. Hey, what's going on? It's Tech Maki, and this is my Vision series for Orlandeau. So, Series Orlandeau, his full name, Sid. Yes, he's the Sid of Final Fantasy Tactics. It's greatness. He is greatness. He is the Sword Saint, the Thunder God Sid. He just wrecks games, and he wrecked Final Fantasy Tactics. It was awesome, but he wasn't always that way. At first, he started off as the general of the Order of the Southern Sky, and he earned his title during the 50 Years' War. Now, he was doing pretty good at that point, but when the War of the Lions kicked off, he kind of fell out of favor with Duke Altana, which was, you know, the leader, I guess, the owner of both the Order of the Northern Sky and the Order of the Southern Sky, which was his. And so, the reason he fell out of favor is because the Church of Glabados was filling Duke Altana's ears with a bunch of rumors and misdirections, telling him that he's a traitor. And so Duke Altana mobilized the Order of the Northern Sky to attack the Order of the Southern Sky to imprison Sid. And so this is what's going down. But at the same time, Ramza, or a little bit earlier, Ramza had actually rescued his stepson, Oran Durai. And after a little bit of traveling and doing some things together, they hear about the Order of the Northern Sky going down to take on the Southern, and so they make their way down there to prevent this battle from taking place and rescue Sid. So when Ramza gets down there, which is he gets down to Fort Basalit, he does rescue Sid. He does break him out of prison, but some tragic stuff happened. Delita shows up. He ends up actually killing Duke Altana, and he sets up a body double for Sid that he ends up killing. And this kind of works towards Delita's ultimate narrative that, you know, Sid was a traitor, and, you know, he was doing all this greatness in the service of Ivalice and the crown and all this other stuff. And so either way, Sid is then labeled a traitor, but he does go on the journey with Ramza and company to stop the Lucavi, which is the people who are, you know, behind some of the things that were happening with the Church of Glabados with the Zodiac Stones. Anyway, he comes into Final Fantasy Brave Exvius as a 5-star character, and he goes up to 6-star. He is an amazing character. Awesome chainer, has some very amazing strength, especially with recent patches or recent content, recent material that's been released. And he comes into the game as a holy swordsman, which calls to his Sword Saint abilities. He does fulfill the role of a damage dealer, but he can slide into that support role if you really need him to. His best stats are HP and attack, and now we're going to move into his kit, his abilities. His abilities, we're gonna talk about a good chunk of them because he doesn't have a huge kit, and it's not massive, but most of them are worth talking about. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Stasis Sword, which is a physical damage to one enemy and inflicts stop, 30% chance, lasts for 3 turns. Very nice skill if you need to, you know, take a breather during a fight or you're trying to stop someone in the arena. Next up, we have Night Sword, physical damage with HP drain at 10% of the total damage, to one enemy. So this is good to get some little health bump back up if your healer's tied up or something. Then we have Crush Weapon, which is his support ability. It's his breaking ability. Physical damage to one enemy. Attack magic down by 40%. Lasts for 3 turns. Pretty cool skill. Very useful during the Dark Esper trials. Next up, we have Northwayne Strike, which is physical damage with ignored defense. 40% to one enemy. Also a pretty good skill. Looks kind of cool. Then we have Duskblade, which is physical damage with MP drain of 30%. Very nice for him, considering his MP pool is not very large, and he can run out pretty quick because some of his skills are extremely costly. This is also very good for the arena if you need to just drain a Noctis of all their MP, or, you know, at least gimp a ling for a split, you know, for 1 round. And then we have Cleansing Strike, which I think is his strongest ability with like a 3x modifier or something. It's 3 physical damage attacks to one enemy, and it inflicts confused 30% chance. Very nice skill, very nice skill. Then we have Lightning Stab, which is his lightning, one of his elemental attacks. Lightning physical damage to one enemy, inflict silence, 30% chance, very cool. And then we have Divine Ruination, his badass chaining skill. It's physical damage with ignore defense of 50%, awesome. With light resistance down by 50%, also awesome. Lasts for 3 turns to one enemy. Now, if you notice, a lot of his abilities are single target. And we're not really going to cover much about his AoE, or I'm sorry, his limit break or limit burst, besides the fact that it is an AoE. So that kind of compensates for his lack of multi-target abilities, but not quite in a way. But it does help with the next skill, War Sense, which increases LB gauge fill rate by 200%. So at least you can use his LB a little bit more often. If with a proper team, you could probably use it every turn, but would you really, though, is the question. Next up, we have Black Lion's Crest, which is attack up by 40% when you have a greatsword equipped, and also grants immunity to blind, sleep, and paralyze. Very cool. It's nice to have immunities on your characters, even though there's no petrify there. Really wish there was a petrify there. Then we have auto refresh, which is nice for 6-star or for 5-star base characters. It's good that they keep putting this in there. Recover MP by 5% every turn. This also helps with his huge MP cost for some of his abilities, like Divine Ruination. I want to say Lightning Stab has a decent cost, but Divine Ruination is like 45 MP. That's a good chunk of his regular pool without max pots or anything. Now, moving on, we have his exclusive equipment, which you could have purchased during the last Final Fantasy Tactics event, and that is called Crush Helm. It is another break ability. It's physical damage to one enemy, defense spirit by 40%. You bring that down. Lasts for 3 turns. Good skill. Probably not going to use it, at least in my case. Most people won't unless you really need a breaker, or the fight demands it and you still want to bring Orlandeau. But yeah, not that amazing in my opinion, but nice to have in case the need arises. Now we're going to look at his Trustmaster reward, which is also kind of, to me, underwhelming. It's not that bad, but it's better used on characters that don't have specific abilities, or you're just trying to give them more skills. It is an 8-star accessory called Thunder God's Plan. It has attack plus 3 attack plus 3, crush accessory, physical damage, and decrease all elemental resistance by 30% to one enemy. Spirit Blade, which is cool because it's an AoE ability, physical and magical damage to all enemies. And then you have Ultima Sword, which is physical damage with ignore defense by 25% to one enemy. But again, unless you are really looking for, I guess, a challenge to get this Trustmaster and then slap this on him, I don't think it's really worth farming up. Next up, we're going to talk about his Espers. Now, for the Espers, I actually only chose one, and I think it's the only one that really needs to be on him, and this will compensate for the fact that he doesn't have an AoE ability, and that will be Odin. Now, provided you went the proper route on your Esper and you made your way to Blade Blitz, so he had that, so your Esper has that. You can slap this on him and it'll have the highest attack that he can get right now, and it'll also have access to Blade Blitz for AoE attacking. I think this is the greatest Esper for him. We're using this in all the builds. So moving on, we're going into the first build. It's the low end build. There is no mid-level build this time, but we do have a little treat at the end. So first off, the low end, the Sword Saint. You're going to be using Durandal, Force Shield, Black Bandana, Demon Mail, 2 Domination Rings, attack plus 30%, Large Sword Mastery, which hopefully you can obtain, and 2 Followers Oaths. Now, I'm not expecting you to have a Large Sword Mastery if this is your first character, or you're just new to the game, but if you can, this would be what you want to slap on them. There's total HP, you're going to have 6,209. Attack is a 607, which I think is amazing for a lower build. Very limited TM usage here. And then with max pots, you have 6,872 HP. Attack is at 706. Defense is actually getting up there at 318, especially with that Force Shield. You have some elemental resistances in there as well. If you don't have a Black Bandana, you can always downgrade to like a Tiger Mask or something like that. I think the Black Bandana was a pretty good piece. It also gives immunity to, I want to say sleep. Could be silence. I forget. I think it's sleep though. Anyway, moving on, we have the first high-end build, which is Thunder God Sid, because he's badass. You're using the Genji Blade, and the Excalibur. Please put them in order on your build so that you're getting the maximum out of Divine Ruination this way. And then you're going to have the Black Cowl, Brave Suit, Genji Glove. The Infernal Armlet is so what you will be using on this build. At max pots, you can downgrade that to a Bracer if need be, if you don't have access to the Infernal Armlet, like myself, because you didn't pull Demon Rain. Hopefully he comes back. Then you have Blade Mastery, Large Sword Mastery, 2 Quick Assaults. You're going to have HP at 4,761, kind of low, but it'll get you through, and you have your attack at 898, which is phenomenal. Then at max pots, that's going to bump everything up to 5,268 for your HP and 1,025 for your attack, 299 for defense. Freaking awesome. Moving on, we're going to go to our first arena build. And as I said first, this one's called the Black Lion. You're going to have Deathbringer, Excalibur, Black Cowl, Rainbow Robe. And I know some people like Rainbow Robe. That's for the elemental resistance. And, well, he wears a cloak. I figured, why not give him a flashy one, right? Next, then you're going to have the Genji Glove, Bracer, Triple Wisdom, and Discernment for your status ailment protection. You're going to have 7,477 HP. Attack is at 750, which is kind of high for the arena. You don't really need it that high, but this is the best I could do. And then with max pots, you're going to have 8,276 HP. Amazing. Attack at 842. Your defense is 268. This is a pretty strong build for the arena. You got some Man-Eater, you got some elemental resistance, and you have status ailment stuff. So you just keep going out unless you get stopped. And then for our last build, also the arena, it's going to be Death God Sid. Now this one's a little bit different. I was trying to make a evasion build. So he's going to have 60% evasion out of this. You're going to be using the Kiyomori, which is a katana with evasion, Deathbringer for the Man-Eater, Vampire Cloak, 20-sided die, Genji Glove, Hill Digger, Black Cowl, and 2 Quick Assaults in your Discernment, of course. This is going to have you at 5,847 HP, 676 attack, which is around what you really should be if you're trying to get at least the max numbers, especially with Deathbringer attached. And then with max pots, you're going to have 6,471 HP. Your attack is at 761, which is high, but hey, whatever. And your defense is now jumped up to 238, so you can take a little bit more. And of course, your MP is going to come up, so you can do this a lot. I think this is a pretty interesting build for the to make him more evasive. If you want to bring him into that whole like Noctis evasion build, but you're not going to hit that 100% really with him unless you're stacking Ring of the Luciais, which I guess you could. Why not? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's my Vision series for Orlandeau. If you have any questions or you want to make any comments in the about the builds, go ahead and drop in the comments down below. But yeah, if you like the video, go ahead and toss a thumbs up, and you can always subscribe to the channel because we're almost at 2,000. And I do stream on Twitch, so you can always hit me up on my home there. It was fun, and I'll see you for the next Vision series. Maki out.